Space, the ever-expanding abyss filled with swirling balls of gas, asteroid belts, black holes, supergiant stars, a playground of wonder, but an environment inhospitable to humans. For now, anyway. But that's not the case in this game, Marauders. It just released in early access, and the game takes us as gamers to the far reaches of space to collect weapons, loot, and eat space cookies. Another extraction shooter to grace the digital world with its presence, but I do have some questions that I need answered. Questions so irrelevant to gameplay, but so relevant to my own mind. Number 1. Space is a vacuum. There is no sound in space. A nuclear bomb could explode, and without a conduit like an atmosphere to travel through, you would hear nothing. So why can I hear other gamers shooting at me in this spaceship? Number 2, the weapons in this game are from the 1940s. How in the gluten-free world did someone develop efficient combustion engines to hurl people through space, a wormhole teleportation system, an asteroid miner, a static space turret, but still not invent blasters or lightsabers? It's really a shame. And the most important question here, actually quite relevant to gameplay, why oh why didn't they invent weapon optics? Of all the questions I have about space, I care more about these answers if I'm going to continue my dominance as a space pirate. Okay, in reality here, Marauders is a pretty fun game, and it's another extraction shooter to come along and try to garner some attention during the early stages of this extraction shooter boom. As an early access title, there are probably a lot of things that are going to change throughout its development, but I wanted to give my first impressions here and talk about some of the features, the roadmap, and some of the downfalls of this game. My name is Tacti. If you enjoy the humor and find the content helpful, a little thumbs up is the easiest way to support me. Alright, let's talk here about the gameplay loop, because that's probably the first thing that you need to know. People and creators have deemed this the Tarkov in space, and well, that's essentially what it is. Now, it's nowhere near as in-depth as Tarkov. It's fairly bare bones in that sense. It lacks a lot of different variants of the ammunition that Tarkov has. It lacks the in-depth weapon attachments. It lacks a criminal amount of keybinds. All in all, it lacks a lot of complexity that Tarkov has, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That makes it easier to access for gamers like myself who haven't dove headfirst into Tarkov as a full-time job and have a couple hours here and there every day to play. It's simple, and the extraction style is a lot of fun. It's honestly my favorite genre at the moment. It's also very unique as it's set in space. So here you're going to have a spacecraft that you can fly and have aerial dogfights, and unfortunately, to promote a sense of immersion, I guess, there's this mask on your screen all the time when you're out there looting. That's part of your space suit, that's part of your face mask, and while it's effective at keeping you from dying, I gotta say, it makes it very, very difficult to take screenshots and thumbnails. Maybe that's just a creator gripe. But here you enter the map, which you can't specifically select, and it's a random choice every time. But it does look like there are maybe 5 or 6 different maps that you can hop into. I'm not 100% sure on the amount here, but you're definitely going to be seeing the same maps over and over. But at the center of the map is a space station, and that's sort of the main loot area. That's where you're going to be in most of the time, though there are other ships around that you can breach and enter that area. It depends on what quest you're going after, because those are a part of the quests. It just depends on where you want to go. We'll talk about those in a second, though. But as you enter the primary station here, you and up to 3 of your buddies will be greeted by enemy AI who just sort of roam around and patrol, or you might experience some angry gamers who want to shoot you down, steal your loot, and would make cracks about your mother if this game had local VoIP. But it doesn't, so all they can do right now is teabag your dead body for some self-satisfaction. Upon grabbing the stuff that you want, you have to hop back into your ship by finding the specific exit, and then you head towards the map exits that look like this. You gotta be careful though, because as space pirates, you can always get into some sort of space fight as you're trying to leave the map, and here the enemy can breach your ship and take all your stuff. Or if you get breached and you just want to leave your ship behind because you don't care, every ship as well as those big stations have escape pods that you can take all the way to the exit, and basically your ship floats for eternity. If your ship does get damaged, you can grab one of these little extinguishers to try to fix it, but with the default ship that you have, in my opinion, it's not really worth it. Doesn't really matter, because even if you lose that, you get the same exact ship upon the next raid. You always have that one rust bucket ship. So that tends to be the general gameplay loop. There are these quests that you can do in the raids to unlock more items or craft more weapons. You can trade with traders, though it seems to be only one trader at a time. And then you can modify and customize weapons a little bit, though again, it's very, very simple and limited. With the money and the loot that you bring out, you can also craft different ships, you can craft different weapons, you can craft different armors. There's a nice little crafting station there. I think that's a pretty cool addition to this game. And there's obviously some character customization, which, by the way, if you're going to run with a group of friends, I would recommend everybody getting the same color of outfits on so you know who to shoot and who not to shoot. That's just a little pro tip. Now, On to a little bit of criticism here. You can definitely tell that this game is early access. The animations aren't quite there yet, especially something like this vaulting animation. It doesn't always look the best, and the game doesn't always run the greatest either. I've got a 1070 Ti and a Ryzen 3700X, and I've got it running on medium right now so that the frames aren't so bouncy. I tried it on high. It's a little bit too unstable for me, so in my opinion, it's not super well optimized unless there's something wrong with my system. Another thing here that really needs some work is the sounds. Footsteps are very loud and directionally can be difficult, but my biggest gripe here is that the loudness doesn't make sense when they're on the other side of the wall. It makes it so confusing sometimes as to what's going on, how far over they are from you, where the enemy actually is, and in my opinion can be toned down quite a bit. The sounds in general can have a little bit more occlusion, just so that I know where things are coming from. If I hear weapon fire in the distance, I want to hear it come through a certain doorway specifically, and not just in general bouncing off the walls. If they could make that happen, I know that's kind of a difficult thing to do. That would be fantastic and help out a lot with the gameplay flow. I'd also love to see more weapon customization. Again, the optics can be a really fun part of games, but these 1940 weapons, they don't have those. There's not really much they can add unless they take some creative liberties, but I'm definitely on board with that because that adds a little bit more customization to the game, and everybody likes optics. Come on, everybody wants a red dot. There's also some ship customizations, more coming in the future, though I have to say, I don't really like the space battle aspect of this game. It's very plain, it's kind of pointless, it's slow, it's clunky. There's no good way to outmaneuver your opponents, especially if you get flanked. It would have been nice to have something like, I don't know, No Man's Sky. I know that's primarily a space game, but even that movement, that fluidity throughout space, that would have been nice. But this is very, very slow. As an example, one time with just my stock ship, I was trying to get to the entry dock, but I was wrecked before I could even get there because someone had a far, far better ship with rockets, and I have no way to outmaneuver him. That was an annoying experience right there. Now, bringing up the roadmap, because they have released a roadmap, it looks like they've got the typical style of roadmap, new weapons, new maps, grenades, a new boss, and more customization. And we'll see how they adjust these space battles, especially as this is what I think is lacking the most. But again, this is just a typical roadmap. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. I don't see anything that would change the game incredibly. So this is kind of the experience that you can expect with the 1.0 release, unless, again, something can change along the way. Now, it's definitely a fun game, and I'm going to try to get a few gameplay vids out because honestly, this extraction-style game mode is my favorite. I've just got to get used to some of the systems and really get sort of, well, better so I don't look like the goofy little chump that I am. If you want to pick up the game, I've linked it down below. That's pretty much going to finish this one off. If you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you didn't, you've probably already hit the dislike button and likely haven't made it this far anyway. Of course, subscribe for more, and until the next one, be bold, be courageous, stay tactical.